Welcome. Brand new music from our man, Dad Life, Dion. Hey, he brought it. Keeping it orange and blue. I'm Ryan Evan Schroet, joined as always by Kevin Ducey. What's up? What'd you think of the music, man?
I dig it, man. It's always fun. D's been one of our guys for a long time. I know that he's does some of the music producing stuff, so it's pretty cool. It's got a cool little vibe to it, and it'd be cool like for us to have like our own little jam. So maybe they'll put some lyrics on it. So
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm telling you. So Big Reese, Big Thirsty from Chicago. He said he might put some lyrics to that, and I'm gonna let him if he wants to. So yeah, I'm down with it, man. So we appreciate it, and it's good when you've got enough people that care about what you're doing that they're like, yo, let me get you some music. We get some lyrics going. I mean, so yeah, you know what though? Every episode we do now, Kev, is 1 week closer to game one of the football season, which I'm stoked about. I'm just excited. Every week, you kind of like I want to enjoy, you want to enjoy your life and your days and your weeks. But man, when it's to this point, you're like, man, 2 more weeks could go by real quick. And I'm like, I'll be ready for game week. So, what's your thoughts as we get here nearing under 3 weeks for Illini football season starting?
All right, so it's very different from last year and different in a lot of ways. So last year, we had a lot of known commodities, and like Isaiah Williams, and then we had it with Johnny Newton, and so you had some guys that you were really counting on to be stars on offense and defense, and it was one of those things, but there wasn't a lot of depth, and I've criticized myself for my 10-2 prediction a lot. Because I didn't look at the depth, especially in places like the lines in the secondary, right? And those got exposed as the year went on. The offensive line lack of depth was exposed early on. It was like Chrysler playing out of position, banged up, then having to move Isaiah Adams, who's getting the shot. He was drafted to play guard for the Cardinals, and so we had him playing out of position. Newton banged up. Randolph, I should have mentioned Keith, but Keith was banged up all year.
Michigan week, October 19th.
Oh, yeah. But this year's a little bit different. So we don't have like a lot of known commodities on the defensive line. We got T-Raw Edwards, and then we're hoping for a big year from Dennis Briggs. We got a little more depth there. Secondary, we got a lot more depth there. Offensive line. We've got, a rotation probably pushing 10 guys. I mean, I talked about it in the Hope and Concerns and Hope article that I posted on 200 columns. So that aspect of this team is starting to bubble up a little bit of my August syndrome, as Robert from Illini Board calls it. And I think it's a really good term. Is like you start to have better expectations for the team. You start to get this like, hey, we're going to be all right. We're going to be better than we thought. And so I know I've been a little bit pessimistic on what I think for an outlook, and we'll dive into our season predictions next week. But I'm feeling pretty good right now. And we've had some camp injuries. Obviously, Cole Rusk, we didn't say it on the podcast last week. We knew about it. Was out for the season. Wish him a really healthy recovery and wish him the best. Wish him a healthy mental mindset, because that can be really hard on an athlete to lose a year. But I understand he was going to be very, very much in the 2-deep consideration and really pushing Arkin and Boyer for being in that starting role. So that hurts, but there's just depth, and there's Luke Altmaier's maturation into another year. Caden Fagan seems like he's ready to break out. Josh McCray sounds healthier than ever. And then we've got position battles at the third wide receiver spot. We can go on and on. I'm just excited because this is not a team that's going to be led by single entity players, but as a collection. And I think there's a lot more talent when you get into the 2-deep than there was a year ago.
Yeah, I think that's true too. I also think this year is different in the realm of, we are coming off a 5-7 season. Obviously,
right.
Last year was 8-5, and the expectation last year was just to keep that going. This year, it's let's get back to a bowl. It's
right.
not. Well, we got to be competing for 10 wins or 9 wins or whatever.
Right.
It's let's just be better than we were last year, which was close, and should have been a bowl team. This year, we just definitely want to see improvement defensively. I'm excited to see the new transfers that the team got in those positions of need, and I think they did a great job filling those spots that we were really hurting last year by the transfer portal, which is, Coach Bielema, if you've listened to him talk in his, media sessions, he's one who who's really embracing this new, the new look college football with the NIL, obviously, but the transfer portal, he's looking at it more like when he was with, the Patriots and the Giants in the NFL. It's a free agency where you can go get better in an off season. And you really weren't able to do that a lot 10 years ago, you weren't able to just be a better team, just guarantee you the next year if you got 4 or 5, just getting 4 or 5 new guys who have played a bunch because, 10 years ago you had to sit out. So
right.
You couldn't just be better next year. It had to be maybe in a couple of years. So that's really what's helped. He's addressed the offensive line, which we're about to jump into here. And obviously in the secondary, and I'm telling you, I've talked to a couple people, and Brett's even mentioned it. Torrey Cox is a dog. I was telling you guys.
Yes.
He said that this dude is like scrappy. He's got this edge to him. He's really going to help the secondary, And I actually have a guy who I work with at Mike Farrell Sports, okay? He lives in Ohio. He actually he's a little bit older, but I think he's getting his master's at Ohio. So he got to see Torrey Cox play last year. So he goes, he was my, what was the best way to say this? His least favorite person to leave. Like, he didn't want him to leave.
Yeah, the one that hurt the most. That stung, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because it stung him on the secondary. And I told him, I said, he's going to be the 3rd or 4th cornerback at Illinois. So, he's going to be a nice piece at Illinois. So it's good to have really good depth, and not just depth, but experienced depth that can play. And so I'm excited about that. And then obviously, Terrence Brooks. So, I love what they did in the offseason. And I'm excited listening to Brett talk about some stuff. And we'll get into the new uniforms towards the end of the show, because let me tell you, there's a lot of those jerseys, I think, sparked a huge debate, because it's like either you hate them or you love them. There's no middle ground. There's a lot of people that are ripping on them, saying they look awful, but then you got a huge chunk saying they look great. I think most people love the helmets, though.
I don't know that let's save that for later, because I want to dive a little bit deeper into that one, Ryan, or we could talk about it now if you want.
We'll talk about that towards the end of the show. I'm not going to forget. It's on our topics list tonight. So, but I think position battles and so far what we're hearing in camp and stuff is a good start. And heck, we can talk as long as you want on the jerseys later, but in the helmets, it's a big week, and obviously Kev will be there, and we're going to be doing some tailgating. And, as Barry mentioned, he's going to buy Kev a beer, and we're going to have some special guests pop through, which will be really fun.
Is he going to show up wearing a mask?
Yeah, I was going to say, Barry, are you going to give away your true identity? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. Jason, very good, brother, because trust me, we're going to be talking about him. I was about to say, the single sets and tight end, but okay. Now we'll start with you, Kev. So the position battle you mentioned earlier, to me, maybe off. If you want to talk wide receivers, I'll talk O-line. I mean, whatever you want to start with.
Well, I think it's really interesting to look at the 3rd wide receiver spot. I think we can nail down the 2 wide receivers. Zachary Franklin's the leading receiver in college football, returning this year in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Like, he's the Triple Crown receiving leader in college football that's playing this year. So there's going to be that level of we got that covered between him and Pat Bryant. Pat Bryant has been a stalwart in the offense, was basically the number 2 guy all last year until basically Casey Washington's flurry at the end of the season passed him up. So you can really pencil in those 2 guys. And then the 3rd spot really comes down to, like, is it the JUCO transfer Mario Sanders, who is, wearing number 1, has a little bit of, maybe not as shifty as Isaiah Williams, probably a little bit more top end speed. Is it going to be reliable, what the coaches call reliable Hank Beatty? He's banged up a little bit. Is it going to be the speedster Kanari Wilcher? Is it going to be the 4-star high-level recruit Malik Elzy? Is it going to be my guy Ashton Hollins? I mean, when you start going down the list, is Colin Dixon, who was a really highly rated recruit in that class with Elzy, going to make an impact? And then like our guy Jason Rom, who gets all the information, right, really well connected with the team, is saying that Alex Kepka Jones is showing really well, and he's a big 6'5" guy with length, who was a JUCO transfer last year. I believe he redshirted last year. We've got great hands. Could be a great like post you up possession receiver. Excuse me. So that is just really interesting when you start going down the list. And I saw some 3-deeps that didn't even include Colin Dixon in it, and that's pretty impressive because I think Colin Dixon can really play. I'm really excited. I know my sleeper in that group is probably Ashton Hollins. I think when you look back and see how he performed at the end of last season, he's got a really wide catch radius. He's got really long. He's really tall. We're talking about tall. We can talk about rooks too. I mean, so there's just enough. There's playmakers there that we can plug in that I'm excited about, and I think that all those guys are going to get some significant snaps in that opportunity to play in that third role and take a little pressure off. And I don't think Illinois is going to be a team that is dominant as star focused in the passing game as we were last year, where Isaiah Williams was just so heavily focused upon. And I think that's going to open some things up. I think we saw it maybe in the Iowa game, where Iowa's got tremendous defensive backs, and we really had a hard time throwing the ball. And I think that part of that is because they put their number 1 guy, which is actually their number 2 guy last year because DeJohn was out in that game, on your number 1 guy and can pretty much kind of shut them off a little bit. I don't think the teams are going to be able to do that to Illinois this year. So I'm excited about who emerges from that group and takes a step forward, because it's going to be competition all year long. And that's a really healthy place to be for Brett and Coach Stepp and Coach Loney.
Yeah, and I definitely would say that it's surprising that Malik Elzy may not have even grabbed that 3rd spot yet, which is a good sign for Illinois. But I'm just a little surprised by it. And again, everybody who's watching on YouTube, we appreciate you subscribing, and everybody who's watching on X. What's up, Adam? Included you, Adam. Let me see where.
Smash that like button, boys.
Barry, like and retweet if you're on X, and subscribe if you haven't, and like as well on YouTube. Pretty simple. But yeah, so with what you were saying, I know I listen to Jason when he speaks. He doesn't always say a lot, but when he does, it's nice to hear. I had heard a little bit of mention from Bielema about Alex Kepka Jones surprising them. I'll say, I think Wilcher's going to get a real good shot this year, especially in special packages, to showcase what he can do. Same with Sanders. I think he's probably the quickest guy on the team, and you're going to see him get to do some Isaiah Williams, stuff from last year. And it's also good to have good size, like with Kepka Jones and Sean. Yes, Trimble is staying at Illinois, and Sean Miller was at New Mexico, I believe. So would have loved to have Sean Miller stay, but it is what it is. But yeah, so that and I can tell you this, having 2 studs like Pat Bryant, by the way, who the entire staff feels like is going to be a pro after this year. Okay, there's a chance Illinois is going to have 2 wideouts drafted next year. Zachary Franklin is a pro as long as he's healthy, and Pat Bryant is on the way to being one. They're not going to really be able to double Franklin, because if they try, Pat Bryant is going to burn people, and that leaves open. And if they try to double, let's say they put 2 or 3 guys on those. Let's say they got 4 guys kind of on those 2, right? Maybe trying to do some zone stuff. Other than that, our 3rd and 4th option at receiving is gonna be open. Okay, so I think you're going to be seeing 2 guys, possibly Kepka or Wilcher or Hollins. I think Hollins, to me, is the X factors you mentioned earlier, because not only does he have size, but he's got speed, and he showed off his great hands in several games for us so far.
And he's also got a little bit of that Casey Washington, not as probably fully elusive, but the ability to like slip a tackle and gain a couple more yards.
But he always seems to be open, Kevin Ashton Hollins, right? Like he's just always open. Like his catches he makes, like he's always open. And I'm like, that's something you need. I think that's an underrated skill, right? Like a guy who can find the open area. I think he's always really good at that. Sean, yep, Isaiah Williams is doing great with the Lions. Injury, Kev, you want to respond to your boy Nathan about any injury updates? We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. Seems like besides right now, though, Cole Rusk is the only one who's out long term.
Yeah, Mason Murugan, right?
Yeah, Mason Murugan, but that was mentioned like 3 weeks ago. But I'm talking about since camp started. But
there's
Kreutz is going to be back from Bielema. Kreutz is out with concussion protocol right now, and he will be back by the week of Eastern Illinois game prep. So, and then it possibly sounds like Caleb Patterson and Henry Boyer have been in concussion protocol as well, but nobody is expected to be more than 2 weeks.
Yeah, Hank Beatty's banged up a little bit, but I don't think it's anything. I don't think there's anything like, hey, the guy might be out for the season. We're not going to be able to play him. Like, Magnus Moeller might be in a little bit of concussion protocol as well. So no, I don't know that there's other than Murugan and Rusk. Like I think the team is still fairly healthy as it can be. Now the Kreutz one obviously is the one that kind of stands out to you a little bit, right? Because that's our starting center. But
having depth at the O-line, though, Kev.
Right, and this is where we can get into Kevin Wigginton II, transfer from Michigan State, started in 5 or 6 Big Ten games a year ago at left guard for Michigan State, who I probably incorrectly plugged at the left guard spot over Geske in my Concern and Hope article, and I talked about that a little bit last week, has been slid over to center and has been taking some reps there. Brandon Henderson is also taking some snaps at center, so there's adequate replacements behind these guys. The guy on the offensive line that I probably think is the guy you can least likely to afford to lose would be J.C. Davis. So, and I think with the tight end situation, I do agree. We'll probably see a little less 12 personnel, 1 running back, two tight ends. We'll probably see a little more 11 personnel from this line on offense with 1 running back and 1 tight end. And I think the reason is because we just beat it over the head is the depth that they have at wide receiver is you'd like to be able to figure out a way to get that third guy on the field. Now, Brett said last week, and he's always going to say that Illinois wants to be able to run the ball, so 12 personnel lends its hand to that. And Henry Boyer is a phenomenal blocking tight end at 270 pounds. So, and I think an Arkin's okay. Arkin's probably more of the receiving tight end, so we'll see what that happens. But, Nathan Durst says pass or running back. Yes, absolutely. I want to see. I think all of our backs can catch. We want to get guys like Aiden Lawfrey in space. You want to get guys like Khalil Valentine when he plays in space. You want to get Jordan Anderson if he's on the field to play like that H-back role. Travo even said right there. He wasn't. I don't know who he was talking about.
He's talking about J.C. Anderson and Max Sutter.
Jordan Anderson, yeah.
But yes, they both are going to be visiting for Kansas game, and we'll get to that a little bit later, Travo.
So I think that, from a camp injury standpoint, being August 11th, we're pretty good right now. So
moving Leonard to tight end for the run game. Yeah. Hey,
undersized offensive lineman. Why not?
Yeah. So. And they've got I know this. We know
Clayton Leonard, right?
Yeah, Clayton Leonard. Yeah, and that's good because I've heard that he's staying at Illinois no matter if he plays or not. So he wants to graduate from Illinois and get his degree, and I think he's got 2 years he can play left. So might as well. And that's what you want. You want a guy like that who's loyal to the program, who wants to do what he can to help the team win. So that doesn't surprise me from him. And we know Aiden Lawford can catch a pass, right? He's a good pass catcher. He's having a great camp so far. And we saw Caden Fagan last year take one to the house off a screen pass against Minnesota, 55 yards. So we've got running backs, Dunlap High School. Yeah, let me tell you, we're going to get to those guys, Nathan. Trust me. Illinois is in really good with – I feel Illinois is going to land one of those guys. I don't know if obviously landing both would be something, but landing one of them is special. So I think, with the running game, you got how they utilized Chase Brown a couple years ago. How important was Chase Brown catching passes out of the backfield? Like that's an important part. And I will tell you though that Jordan Anderson sounds like I had heard a little about him getting dinged up too. He's still recovering from his injury last year, but they feel like he's going to be full go by season start. So even the Caleb Patterson and the Boyer concussion stuff, nothing is going to keep them out of game one, from what I'm told.
And it's interesting. It's like on the Illini website, Clayton Leonard's already moved over. Number 41 is playing tight end at 6'4", 290. So I know that he'll be using some 12 or 13 personnel. So right on.
Yeah. Now with the position battles at the O-line, it just sounds like too, it's great to have a guy like Wigington who has started already at MSU. You know what I mean? He started at Michigan State. He's already started in the Big Ten. So if Kreutz isn't able to go right away, you've got a guy who you've got depth there. And another thing that's key too is Brandon Henderson. It sounds like Kevin can play literally all 5 spots.
Yeah, they raved about his football IQ and his ability to hop in. And I guess Brett told him like night before, "Hey, dude, you're gonna go get some reps at center," and he was ready to go. So that's. I've got an affinity for Brandon Henderson, not only because he was a pretty good recruit for us, stole him from Iowa State, but a certain guy right here called the Swami told everybody it was going to happen before anybody else really knew, and it happened. So Brandon. So
yep.
Like the same way I'm pulling for JoJo for hopping on the show, and sounds like he's
moved to outside linebacker.
Yeah, which I think will highlight his athleticism. But it also tells me that the team's feeling pretty good about Ryan Mead and Mason Monheim. Not Mason Monheim.
Whoa, blast from the past.
Wow. What's this guy? Why is his name eluding me?
Dylan Rosiak.
No, the super fast middle linebacker. Oh, jeez.
That's Kreutz's brother, isn't it?
No, it's the other one. I feel like an idiot right now. Like we're gonna kick me off the show.
Well, you said this other one that's super. Ken Otaluga?
No, like
who are you talking
redshirt
about?
freshman. Redshirt freshman.
You're
Brett specifically talked about.
I don't know. Let's see if anybody on the show who you're talking about, because you got me confused. So. I've literally named, I thought, everybody that's going to start. Are you talking about somebody who's not going to start?
No, he's not going to start, but I think it's by moving JoJo Hayden over.
Joey Barna?
No. God bless.
Okay. Well, there you go. I'm trying to name everybody on the defense for you, so I don't know. Bray?
No. Alex Bray, excited by him. Yeah.
Malachi Hood?
Malachi Hood, there it is. Thank you.
I was like, what? But we're getting into like the 16th and 17th guy on the defense. Sorry.
No, but I think that JoJo Hayden moving outside linebacker is saying that Malachi Hood is going to be ready to play. Like, and Ryan Mead is ready to play. So
and let me tell you, the Utah kid, Easton Baker, he's going to be a player too now.
Stop calling Easton Baker. His name is the Missile.
The Missile. Okay.
The Missile.
They've got a lot of guys a missile. Kreutz is a missile too now.
He absolutely is. Yeah. So and Kreutz as well. So
yeah, I was gonna say, Daryl, you know what? You get a free. You're ready to send you a shirt, brother. Appreciate that, because I
don't know what all those letters mean though, Daryl. What are all those letters after your name?
What is MSML, Daryl? Anyway, because I was getting nervous because I was thinking, I'm naming everybody, even guys that are playing well in camp.
Well, sometimes you just have brain farts. I mean, Mason Monheim, I'm still thinking about that.
I was going to say, if you want to get a tooth extracted, he's the guy to go to. But
I'm still thinking about that interception touchdown I think he had against Northwestern. My boy Riley O'Toole loved Mason. He used to talk about him all the time. So maybe that's where I was going.
We need to get Riley. Hey, we need to get Riley back on maybe before the season. Let's talk football, right?
Yeah, he's got a couple little ones now, so he's pretty busy.
Okay. All right. I still told one of my favorite stories, you guys, from having guests on the show, and I told my whole family this one was how he impressed his now wife the family came to the game, and it was at that start against Minnesota, the Gray Ghost game where he got, and he's like, hey, you're starting. He's like, what? My girl's family's what? He's like, yeah. He's like, you're starting today. And he was like, they were like, hey, mom. His girl was like, hey, mom, dad. He wears number, what was Riley O'Toole's number? 4. He's like, yeah, he's number 4 out there on the offense. And her dad was like, yeah, the guy, the starting quarterback. And she's like, what? And then remember he had a good game that day against Minnesota. So, let me just say,
no, the best Riley story ever is, and I'm going to elaborate on it more than he did. Is he got a little tipsy
before the
bowl prep,
part of Dallas Bowl, yeah.
Yeah, and Chase Crouch, and he kept his helmet kept fogging up, so he made Chase Crouch change helmets with him, and he said his helmet was too big, and so Chase goes in there and this was from Chase when I met him on a plane, and he's like. And he goes in there and it just stinks like booze and it's fogging up and he can't see a thing. And he had like the worst practice ever and coach right in his ass. And it was all to help Riley out.
No, and you guys and guess who the coach was that was on his ass about it? It was Alex Golish.
Oh, that's right.
USF's head coach was like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? He's like, were you drunk or something? He's like, wake up.
No, he didn't roll on Riley. So that was a good thing.
Yeah, so that was good. Yeah, but so Daryl, we need to know what MSML stands for by the end of the show. So one thing that it sounds like there's no, I would say, controversy or position battle per se is at running back, because it sounds like we're going to have 3 guys that can rotate in and out and run and play, maybe get 15 carries, maybe 10 to 15 carries a piece, possibly 10-ish, probably for McCray. Maybe a little bit more for Lawfrey, and maybe a little more for Fagan personally. And don't get me wrong, if Lawfrey is that much better and is as dangerous as it sounds, you can't complain, right? It's just about productivity and Illinois winning.
It's a little thunder and lightning, right? I like to think of Fagan and McCray will be the tenderizers, man. And I think that's what you really want to do. It's a really unique situation when you look at this football team, right? You're going to have 5 starting offensive linemen, and you hope that those 5 starting offensive linemen take just about every meaningful snap in the game. And then you're going to have the quarterback position, which is going to take every meaningful snap in the game. And then outside of that, it's like, Bryant and Franklin will get the lion's share of the snaps, but they're not going to take every important snap of the game. You would think that Terrence Brooks and maybe Xavier Scott and Matthew Bailey will take just about every important snap on the defensive side of the ball. But other than that, like, there are guys that I think we're counting on to come in and play that they don't have to play as many snaps as Johnny Newton did last year. You don't have to play as many snaps as Isaiah Williams did last year. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about what's going to happen with this football team. And because it's a depth standpoint and we can withstand some injuries, and we've just got pieces. There is.
I like this, you guys. You have questions, we'll just, if I like them, I'll put them in there. Sorry. What's up? Hey, Dad Life Dion is Alton 06. We used your theme music tonight earlier, brother. That's our new if we can get Reese to do some spitting lyrics over it, I'll put that on. So we just need to get that edited, Dion, see if you can get some verses put on there, and we'll definitely add that. So anyway, I'll answer, and Kev, we could do this. Me and you can go back and forth. You guys have some specific questions. So losing Reggie Love III will impact the Illini how? A lot or not much at all? And I'm going to say not much at all. Okay. So I was told too last year that basically he was kind of told, like, hey, you really are the least efficient running back on the team. If you look at, I'm not kidding. I talked to some guys in the stats department of the team last year, and they go over like their efficiency on specific runs, specific packages. It's not all like he averaged 3.7 yards per carry. That's not everything they look at. It's more of like, how efficient was he for his for the opportunities he had with this, how the team blocked when he got the ball and where the holes were and if he was able to get there. And I was told he was the least effective running back from their stat department on the team last year. So
I'll say this: the greatest ability is availability. And while Reggie Love has had some moments at Illinois where he was banged up and unable to play, he was the most available running back on the team last year, and has shown the most durability out of the guys that we currently have on the roster. So that may be an impact. But I love Reggie Love. I'm a little bit upset he went to Purdue. Talked to him after the Northwestern game a couple of years ago up in Evanston. I thought he played hard. I thought he played tough. I thought he always seemed to pick up the pieces when he needed to and play well. But let's be real here. Of the running backs that got the ball last year, he's slower than Fagan. He was slower than Lawfrey. He's less shifty than Lawfrey. He's smaller than Fagan and McCray. Like, it's just one of those things that what when you look at Reggie Love and you're like, what does Reggie Love really do well? And you kind of go like, he shows up. He does have the ability to break some tackles. He's a decent Big Ten running back. I'm with you, Ryan. I lean a little bit less than not much at all, but not much.
So this is exactly what I was told. Looking at it now, he wasn't going to be in the top 3 of the rotation, mutual parting. Plus, he wanted to go play for Corey Patterson, since basically he'd known him since junior high. He wasn't good when he played last year. All the advanced metrics hated Reggie. Really bad production scores. Lowest graded running back 1 for Bielema since PFF started doing grading over a decade ago.
Yeah.
So trust me, that's stuff that these guys are analytically looking at that we're not. So it's nice when I can hear stuff like that, because that's crazy to know. And think about that. Like, on the outside, we might be like, oh, well, he had a really great run against Penn State. He fought hard on that run. He was the best player of that game. Well, okay. And then let's look at the other 10 games he played. Like, how often could he play? How were his advanced metrics? Blah, blah, blah. And apparently they were not good. So to answer that question, I would say not much at all. And again, we do appreciate all those. Think about this. He played dinged up quite a bit. He gave Illinois a lot. And that's so there's no ill will or hard feelings towards Reggie Love. So just to answer that question, Nathan, let me see.
Nathan's got another good question there.
Yep. Hey, come on, you guys. Don't let Nate give all the good questions. Come on. Who will be receiving the punts or kick returns on special teams? I've been told Wilcher is one of them. So
yeah, if Eastern was played tomorrow, I would bet Kenari Wilcher's the punt return. It's not played tomorrow. We are 17 days away. If Hank Beatty's healthy, I would suspect that Hank Beatty is the punt return. Kick return with Kenari Wilcher, Khalil Valentine, Aiden Lawfrey, and wait for this one. You ever had a 235-pound punt returner, Josh McCray, fielding some punts back there. So,
oh my goodness. What though? I'm thinking, what about Caleb Griffin? Does he have any more eligibility? Okay, no, sorry, but Lovey ball. Anyway,
what was it Leon Johnson that used to return for the Bears? He was like their fullback. He played at North Carolina. It was like number 32.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm with Billy Mo. Just catch the damn ball. Just run up, catch the ball, call it a day, and move on.
And if you think about this, as much as we love Isaiah, man, he still struggled back there sometimes. It was
he had moments where you're like, ah, and then moments you're like, oh no.
Yeah, like the Nebraska game.
I think I would love to see more Kenari Wilcher in anything that deals with him getting his hands on the ball.
Didn't he have a punt? Didn't he have a kick return for a touchdown or something that got called back last year?
I think so. And he's really fast. But I'm hearing Zachary Franklin and Miles Scott as the kick returners. Don't know how I feel about that.
Hey, come on now, let's go. Just don't get hurt back there, Franklin. But yeah, like I'm pretty sure it was the Indiana game. Wilcher caught. We were down big at that point, and he ran one back for a touchdown. And then of course we had a holding call or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's good. Anyway, any good questions, you guys? We'll answer them up here. Now, Kevin, let's get to the Michigan uniforms, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know you've got some good thoughts on that, and I can, I've definitely got my own. But yeah, so they unveiled the new. Well, think about this though. Before I even get to the uniform, the helmets. I love those things. They're going to be wearing 4 different helmets this year, Kevin. So you're going to have the 90s through the late 2010s were at the Illinois
Giants.
Yeah, the Giants, Illinois. You're going to have the 80s Illini, like Illini.
Shoot that into my veins, man. I love that one.
And then you're going to have the Chief, I think, right?
No, there's no way they do the Chief.
No, that's Hope. Come on, I'm speaking it into existence. What was the third one? It was
the block eye, isn't it?
It's just the block eye. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was different though. It wasn't like the recent block eye. But anyway, the Chief should be on one. So, and then of course these new Red Grange inspired era helmets that look literally like those old leather things they used to throw on in the 20s. And of course the white kind of striped top with those pants that match. I personally love them. I think they're great, especially for a one night thing only for the 100th year of, the remembrance of that game against Michigan from Red Grange, plus, the dedication of Memorial Stadium. I think that's just going to be an electric, crazy night and atmosphere. And you picked a great game to come back, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the helmet for that game. That is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I mean, you want to pay homage to an era, and at the same time, you want to pay homage to an era, and you still have to meet all the safety protocols and standards of today's football. And we've seen so many of these versions of throwbacks, specifically they've done in the NFL where they go back. Like the Packers do it a lot. The Bears have done it a couple times. And frankly, I think they just look like crap. And I think from what I saw, this is the best version of paying homage, looking as close to resembling what they did back in the day, was still keeping the integrity of the current day game up. And I think the helmets are going to be revolutionary. I think you're going to see more teams do something like that. And I think I mean, most of the comments I've heard about the helmets have been very, very positive. The jerseys are like ugly because that style was kind of ugly, like the vertical stripes. But to pay homage, it's a lot better than if you want to pay homage. I thought the Grey Ghost uniforms were actually kind of cool. But when you're going to pay homage to something, why not do a replica? And then Bill Moe even said it back. We're going to do the numbers and the stars as back to the Buck this year. So those will be a 3 style of helmets: the Illini swoop, the Illinois bold, and the numbers and the stars. And then obviously we got the Michigan game where we're going to look like leather throwbacks, which is really pretty cool. So I'm very excited about the uniform.
I would love for game day or something to come to that. That would be a worthy game. It's crazy too, because they do weird things like that where game day or whatever will go to it may not be the number 1 versus number 3 matchup, but they do some weeks where it's just kind of like an odds place to just kind of maybe pay homage or honor a really cool game in a moment. And let's see how it works out, or even big noon kickoff, something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you don't want that game to be big noon kickoff though. That's a little early.
Yeah. I think there's no,
I bet you that's like 2:30 kick that day. I would bet.
I'm hoping it's 7 p.m. man. I hope it's
because I don't think they have. So there's night games for CBS does a 3 p.m. kick. NBC has a night game they do, and so does Big Ten Network. I'm not sure. Because now with all these new channel avenues, they've got 2 or 3 more options they can add a night game to. I think as long as it stops before November, right? You can do night. Don't they do a night games now until November? Or
yeah, something like the Big Ten rule. Georgia is at Texas that week, so game day with the likelihood of game day coming now with the new contracts are probably slim and none, but we might get big noon kickoff, right? You've got Alabama's at Tennessee and Georgia's at Texas that weekend. So just like I'm looking at like the big conferences, the Big Ten doesn't really have anything that stands out that weekend.
That could be the game. That could be the Big Ten game of the week they put on NBC though.
It could be, and you could,
It's a night game. Yeah. Let's hope, guys. Come on. Let's do it. I know they've announced their schedules for NBC, but they also can opt in and out of games. They can move them around, which they did last year a couple times. I think Illinois was supposed to be in a nighttime slot against Purdue, and then they saw that both of them are struggling, and they pushed it down to the 30 pick. So they can adjust those. All right, Jay Hagan, they beat Michigan on Keepin Orange and Blue night. Book it. Yeah, that's right. Nathan, that's not a question I'm putting on here, but I don't know if the students will be able to get into the game for free. I mean, it would make sense, but I don't think they're going to have to for that game.
I will tell you right now, it's really hard finding an Airbnb. It's really hard finding a hotel. I don't think that they're going to need to let students in the game for that day. I'm gonna have to stay at the Schroet household. So, Mama
Ducey's not letting stay.
I'm just coming in with my wife's family's all coming in. I got a brother-in-law that's never been to a college football game that really wants to go. So,
well, I have a spare bedroom here, so you can stay.
There you go.
I don't know about everybody in your family, but you and
operator put me through to Decatur.
Yeah, there we go. Never heard that one.
Pork and the Havana Ducks?
Never heard the put me through to Decatur, no.
Have you heard of Pork and the Havana Ducks?
No.
Oh, man.
No, I have not. Sorry. Anybody else in here? We'll see who else has heard that.
I'm sure lots of people. I don't know. Anybody over 40 has heard of Pork and the Havana Ducks, but I'm an old soul too. Like I started going to games when I was like 4, so you might need my 50-year-olds here. So, okay.
So obviously those are special. And yes, maybe I was looking. I think the jerseys are a lot better looking than the pants. The pants necessarily they obviously blend with the top.
Yeah.
But those pants are just straight that same color with nothing else on them. Like there's no like side lines going up the top, or it's just plain. It's just all goldish, whatever that is. The pants are just straight one color, but I think it'll all look good. I'm just picturing them in the trenches with that on. That's gonna look good.
It's interesting. As I've heard some people talk about, will this be a NCAA football 26 version of the Illinois football? So will we be able to put that uniform on them? So I don't know.
Yeah.
Has anybody played with the Illinois? Have you been able to can you put on like the gray one, or if anybody wants to try?
Is Franklin on the update? Is Zachary Franklin on the update yet? Because I'm hearing that before the season starts, I'm getting I'm getting the PS5. I just need to get it. I can't stand not having to play the game because of all these people talking about it. And I'm like, I don't know, and I can't stand if I get asked a bunch of stuff that I can't answer, I don't like it. And I used to love to play that game. And of course, as I've gotten older, they haven't had it since I was like 24. So now that I'm like 36, I'm like, it's back. I might want to play it. I was like, because I think about this. I was playing it my whole life. Now all of a sudden it got taken from me, and it's been a little over a decade. Now it's back. So I'm like, I think I might want to do it. So as we now I want to get to some big time visitors I already brought up earlier, which is huge. I spoke to one of their parents tonight, and they're definitely excited about coming. It's a big time atmosphere. They're working hard on 2026. They've got 0-4s is another one that's coming to I think September 7th against Kansas. But so Illinois is hosting J.C. Anderson and Max Sutter. These are tight ends who are both top 300 national 4-star kids who live within an hour and 15 minutes of each other.
Right.
Okay. An hour and 20 minutes of each other. One goes to Mount Zion, and he's the teammate of 2025 commit Braden Trimble. So Mount Zion's looking to do some really big damage this year when you've got, talent like that on their team.
Absolutely.
And then Max Sutter goes to Dunlap, who's a very dangerous team from the Peoria area who scores a lot of points. And they will be scoring a lot of points again this year. So they're coming together, not just together, but they're coming to watch Illinois host top 25 Kansas September 7th. So that's going to be a night game, prime time, FS1. I think, great to get these guys on a big time atmosphere, a big time stage to let them see what Illinois football can do. When you've got offers of the likes of like Notre Dame, Auburn, Tennessee.
Anderson is really like
Michigan.
Notre Dame or Illinois is what I'm hearing in that one. Is that what you're hearing as well?
I've heard, yes. That is personally what I think behind the scenes. They have not came out and said that. They're not going to. But I think Notre Dame and Illinois are right there. I think, you can't really complain about like, why would you have Notre Dame right there, Well, it's not super far away. The football tradition is great. And let's just see. They just put a tight end in the first round last year, right?
They got tight ends galore.
Yeah, tight end galore. They always have really good tight ends, and so you really can't argue that. But I think what Illinois got, they believe they love Bielema. They love the staff. They love that it's close, and I think that they love too that he's got to have a teammate that's there at Illinois. And I think if Illinois can prove that they can win and they can do something this year, that's really going to help their cause. I know that doesn't really necessarily mean anything for a guy's pro prospects, but while they're in college, they'd like to win. And I think that matters a lot to most kids. So,
well, and I think the competition with Notre Dame there specifically for Anderson is you can make the argument that they're the best tight end school in the country. Iowa would probably have a stronger one. But Notre Dame is right there. So,
yeah. Yep. So it's good. Illinois is getting a big time opportunity to host and show these really key prospects for 2026 what they're all about. And again, ranked opponent, prime time, national TV. Can't beat it.
Yeah, and I think the visitor list is
electric.
Yeah, and the visitor list that you're going to see for Michigan will be extensive.
Yes, and they're going all out for that. And it sounds like Illinois basketball is going to be doing that as well. So, Illinois,
that's where you really hope that you get a later afternoon game. Maybe they can have a scrimmage or something open to the public.
I think that's
for that. So,
without being told that, more kind of like a nudge thing. I think that's kind of the plan earlier in the day. So, but yeah. So, with that said, before we get to final thoughts. We've mentioned it a little bit earlier that we're going to be doing a tailgate. Yeah, Trey Taylor from 2027. We're going to be doing a tailgate.
Where's his uncle at?
Let me see. He was a sponsor of ours at one point. Donald Taylor. Okay, yeah. Who was the beating tackler on the awful 03-04 Illinois teams. Seriously, it was the team that lost at home to San Jose State on a field goal in 03. I was at that game.
I was there.
Yeah. Were you there? You were there too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, oh, my goodness. Anyway, we're hosting a tailgate, Lot 31. I'm pretty sure that's the goal. There are other lots, but Lot 31 is where it's at. And and we're going to have special guests, which could be anyone, but Jay Began will be there. We'll have some possible players, some possible, other people in the program stopping by that maybe we know or have talked to. Just
friends of the
we'll
program.
be there. Yeah, come see, and have. I know some people just want to come by and say hello, just enjoy a couple hours or an hour, whatever you want to spend with us.
Yeah, we're working on some sponsorship opportunities for the show, for the tailgate, excuse me. So and the show. So if you're interested in that, reach out to Ryan or myself. We'd love to promote your business and possibly make it part of the tailgate and figure out what we got to do to cover some of the expenses of running the tailgate. But as of right now, it's probably just going to be a pretty casual one, No,
we're not. We're not one of the 17 Illini 1990. Robert Rosenthal is not going to be at our tailgate. We're not one of the 17. Okay.
I'll invite him.
Yeah, but my point is he won't show up, Kev. You can invite him.
He might.
But we're not one of the 17.
I stand by this. Robert has a lot of good stuff. I love what he did. I love the platform that he built. He is honestly, when you meet him, is a really nice guy, but he is prickly online, which is weird. It's almost
like it's basically like you just got to get to know him, kind of.
Well, I met him at the Illinois Golf Championships, not this past year, the year before last, in Arizona, and he was really cool, man. Really cool.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
He loved Illinois sports.
Their own, and it's okay. So with that, I second what he said. I can tell you this: everybody, you have your own businesses out here. You have your own wants and needs. You obviously know you're going to have a great visibility platform with this podcast. And you know that if people love the Illini and you want your business put on something where you think Illini fans will watch, then give us a shot. If I can't, this isn't for everybody though. And this isn't anything bad for anyone in particular, but if you're necessarily worried about a little backlash from some people, or, you don't really have thick skin, and this is not for you. So if you're cool with that and you got some thick skin, you could be a sponsor for this and this show, and we appreciate you. So other than that, Kev, I know you finished up. The Olympics finished up today. United States has the most gold medals since 1908. Second most medals since 1908. I think I found out the second most medals since 1908, and I think it was the most gold. They tied China with the most gold medals at 40. But they get the tiebreaker. Is it because they had more medals total?
Yeah, they tied with the most golds, and then had the most silvers and the most bronze by a long shot. So
yeah, okay. Anon, yes, you missed plenty, and the replays will be right here for you. We basically just talked 2026 visitors for the Kansas game right now. Final thought, Kev. You go first.
I'm going to go back to the Olympics. It was just really cool. If you had the opportunity to watch the semifinal match, Jordan Poulter, Illinois volleyball player, playing, I think it might be her second or third Olympics, and I know for at least it was her second Olympics, she was phenomenal in that game. They got beat today by a really, really good Italy team. It was one of those games when you watch it and you realize the other team's just better, and Italy was better. Very proud of our women to take home silver in the U.S. volleyball, the Olympic volleyball championships. Was really cool. The women pulled off a phenomenal win in soccer for the gold medal. The 4x400 teams both took it. The women just dominated. The men really fought. And it was the Olympics were just a ton of fun. And there's a level of exhaustion of trying to watch everything that part of me, I'm glad it's over. And then a part of me is really sad. I love the Summer Olympics. I love the Summer Olympics probably 30 times more than I like the Winter Olympics. And it's probably just because I can't skate. I can't ski, and I don't know how to play most of those sports. And it was just a phenomenal event. I'm really excited about 2028. I'm hoping that I'll know some athletes that are going to be there. Specifically, my wife works with a girl who's rowing around the country. The U.S. softball and baseball will be back in 2028, which is really good for me because every time I watch breakdancing, I'm just astounded that that's a sport in the Olympics, and baseball and softball aren't. So softball will actually be played here in Oklahoma City. So it was just a lot of fun, really good opportunity to see some Illini athletes do well. And Steph Curry, man. Steph Curry. I'll tell you this. One of the coolest things about the Olympics for me.
Chef Curry.
Yeah, Chef Curry, because he was cooking.
Yeah.
I've talked about this a lot. I start to appreciate athletes later in their careers a little bit more. And I've done it with everybody. I did it with Jeter. I did it with Brady. There's been a number of other guys that I disliked, and then later in their career I started appreciating. And LeBron is definitely one of those guys in the NBA. And no, I think LeBron should have won it. I think LeBron led the team. I mean, Stephen Curry didn't play well for the most part until the last two games. But it was just really cool to root for guys that I root against a lot. Root against LeBron because he was in the East forever. played against some good Bulls teams, beat my Thunder in the finals, root against Curry because he beats my Thunder. And then, Kevin Durant left, didn't really like him. And just to be able to see these guys perform so well, I think all three of them are as old as Larry Bird was when he won his Olympic gold medal, which was the oldest basketball player to win.
Yes, this is LeBron's last Olympics. Yep.
I don't think he'll play at 44 or 43.
Yeah, okay, but I will say, though, without Curry, USA gets bronze is his statement. While that may be true, the MVP is not necessarily just for what you did for 2 of the 6 or 7 games they played.
Yeah, I mean it's a fair one. I mean, I get the argument on both sides. I just thought LeBron was phenomenal all the way through, had triple doubles. It was just fun to watch these old guys, and then also watch an old guy like Novak Djokovic win gold for his country, and it was just a lot of fun. It was a Scotty Scheffler I talked about last week.
I love how you're calling guys like 38 old guys. Man, it makes me feel – I'm starting to feel old,
He's 39.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
Just old in basketball.
40 doesn't mean you're fucking old. I mean,
it does in basketball. It really does in basketball. So.
In tennis, I get it, though. That is old in tennis.
Yes. So that was just a lot of fun. I'll just tell people the next time it's around, I didn't care for the opening ceremonies, but I love the games, and I'll probably do the same in 2028.
What about the closing with Tom Cruise dropping from the top of the Paris stadium, like in Mission Impossible style? See that?
No.
Yeah, the closing ceremony.
That's something I always say. I care about what happens between the lines, man.
That did happen between the line. Okay.
No, I did. I don't care. Did they give a gold medal for that one? Because I don't care.
They should have. Oh, man. Anyway, I didn't want to interrupt you. Said Scotty Scheffler. It's fine. What was the golf? How did the golf end up being?
Lydia Ko won for Australia for the women today or yesterday. Scotty Scheffler won last weekend, which was really cool. Tracked down John Rahm. So Scotty Scheffler. And that makes 5 for 5 for Americans this year. The 4 majors and the Olympics all won by Americans. And now if they can take the FedEx and the Patriot, I can't think of it. President's Cup, they could go 7 for 7 this year, which would be pretty cool.
Shout out to that Australian woman breakdancer. Let me tell you, I don't know if you've seen the videos of it, but you need to watch it, Kev. I'm going to tell you what, though. She took it to the next level. I think she got – so basically what I was told, she was like a ballroom dancer, and Australia didn't apparently have enough women break dancers. So she won their breakdancing competition, and she was like flopping around like a fish and doing all this crazy, just wild stuff that wasn't breakdancing. So you just guys need to check that out. But I can tell you this, she went out there and did it 3 times, knowing she was outmatched, outclassed every time. And she kept a confident face, thinking that she was, punking the other opponent, and it's magic. So you guys need to check that out. So my final thought is other than excited for football season, basically just excited and proud to have a big following of people who, not only want to, deliver music for us that keep us coming back every week. We appreciate you guys, all our followers, everybody who subscribes. And it just keeps on going week after week, and we're getting there. And I think, Jay Bagan, knowing a guy, if Kev can't be here, another guy who wants to help host a show. Kev, I think this podcast has gone, probably farther in my head than I think maybe you feel the same way that I ever could, Yeah,
absolutely. For sure. So,
yeah. I wish, by the way, I hope the Olympics they should have podcasting as a sport next time. And maybe me and Kev can give it a shot, We might be able to qualify.
I'm with you, Sean. I'm holding out cautious optimism right here.
Kevin does not want to talk about baseball on this. He's made it clear.
I love my Cubs, man. I'm following.
Hey, Hard Knocks Tuesday night. The Bears, Kev.
Dude, I'm sorry. Bro, if you watch that football game without your Haterade glasses on and you can't tell me that 18 is the truth, I'm sorry. That dude is really good, man. He's really good.
Well, it sounds like he's on the Williams Express already. So,
Oh, dude, I was on it before he got here. So
I'm telling you, Dion, we have already said, can you try to get Reese to put some lyrics on there? We will use it. I think everybody likes the intro, and yeah, it's a hit so far. So, yeah, with that, Kev, you got an article coming here soon?
yeah, it should be out this week. I was on vacation last week, so I didn't really have a lot of time to write, but I'll put something out maybe tomorrow or Tuesday.
All righty. And I just have a feeling I have another article coming for Mike Farrell Sports this week about defensive breakout players who you might not have heard of. I'm thinking Illinois might have a guy on that list.
We probably have heard of him.
Yeah. Oh, you've heard of him.
I'm telling the listeners of the show, if you're an Illini fan, you've heard of him.
You've heard of him, but he's going to get a little national spotlight from yours truly. So, because I don't want nobody to be surprised, even though the staff might not like it, but I'm trying to give him some shine, Yes, Sean, you're always here to talk about my Cardinals. Appreciate it. With that said, next week, you guys, season predictions. He's bullish on them. I'm thinking I'm going to get him we're going to get over 6, baby. We're going to do it.
Maybe.
Swap me out.
ILL.